All right, guys, my special guest today is Ken Zhang. He is our resident program manager in Markham. If you've been a member of our Markham studio or any of our studios, you've probably seen Ken around teaching some classes, usually in and out of appointments with clients. He's been a long-time cornerstone of Fight Fit for the last few years. I think I got him right when he came out of school, or close to it at least. And he's been killing it ever since, and he's a big part of a lot of client successes. And we're happy to have him on the show. Ken, welcome.
Thanks, Joe, for having me. Happy to be a part of this live stream. I know it's like a new thing we're doing, but yeah, hopefully we have a fun time with all the questions and just learning a little bit more about my life.
Awesome, Ken. So let's take it back, way back. How did you get involved and get started into fitness?
For my own fitness, I've always played sports, like growing up, as a kid. It was just my way of, making friends and, like you just do things that are fun to you. So like when I first came to Canada when I was in just grade 2, and I've played soccer ever since, like I
Where,
knew how to kick a ball.
where were you from originally?
I came from China, so I grew up in China, and then I came here when I was like grade 2, so super young, and I mostly use team sports, track and field, these type of things to really just kind of fit in, get to know people, and then that way you kind of have that camaraderie. I felt like I was a part of something instead of like, because I didn't know English that well when I first came here. I was like ESL up until like grade 4, grade 5. And if it wasn't for like sports or like doing, track and stuff like that, I feel like I'll just be like alone or left kind of on the side. So definitely grateful for that.
I guess that's actually, you bring up an interesting point, like sport and fitness being the great doesn't even need a language.
Oh yeah,
'Cause-
absolutely.
So and you found that it helped you like connect with people and everything like that?
For sure. I mean, like this, it builds this competitiveness between you and like your teammates. I enjoy training and practicing with them because, there's that grind, there's that struggle to get better, right? So it's always something to do, and it's something that you look forward to. And when you're having fun as a kid, like you don't really think of these things, right? You
Yeah.
kind of just do it. You just kind of do it to have fun, and without realizing that these are all the benefits and all the pros that it brings with you because, you're not, alone on the playground, by yourself. You actually have people with you that are looking to, work with you, hang out, and just improve and get better.
Yeah, just goes to show like how important it is for people to move together. Kind of reminds me, remember there was that one client, and this I want to bring it to a client story, that we have a vast variety of different clients from different backgrounds that speak a whole bunch of different languages. And there was that one client, I think she said her English got better because she started training with us. Do you know who that
I,
was?
I kind of remember. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We like she would bring. I think was it the one she would bring like her daughter to come translate for her in the class. But then she got like to know the movements and the demo and cues, and she eventually just got the gist and like got the flow of it. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, so it's important. Anybody can start moving and start exercising no matter what. Cool. So as a kid, you grew up playing a lot of sports. I mean, let's take fast forwarded into after high school. I guess you were applying for school, post grad work, a postgraduate diploma. Or where did you go?
So I was actually not into like I didn't go straight into fitness right away. From coming from an Asian household and all, so I was actually in like biomedical engineering, like kind of like the tech side of things. And I got into that program for about like a year or two, and it was just like every day it was just like I just didn't like it. I just hated it. I remember this was one lab I was in, and one of my professors, he was like, hey guys, like what do you guys expect? Like he flipped out on this other kid for some reason because he didn't do his project well enough. He just said, hey guys, what do you expect? This is what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. Like if you get a job in this field, 10, 20 years, and all we're doing was just like doing soldering, circuit board checking, programming stuff. And then for me, I'm just like, it hit me. I was just like, in 10 years, rest of my life, I'm already hating just this 1 hour of lab. So when he said the rest of your life, I just couldn't, like, it just hit me. So I did not want to do that at all. I took a year off of school just to kind of think and realize like what I wanted to do in my life. So what I did was I worked in Leon's for like a really long time, like ever since I was 16 years old. And I was good friends with like the manager there. He, saw that I had potential. So I was like, hey, let me do sales for a year. I want to get some new experience. He said, you know what, let's do it. I had zero like sales experience. But coming from the warehouse, working like my way up from just a part-timer associate while I was in high school, became a supervisor in the warehouse, and then he's like, hey, you know what? Let's give you a shot. So I started learning sales, did the training and all that stuff, and I sucked at it. When I first started, I was terrible at sales, but it was fun because it got me in front of people. I was talking to them. I was able to connect and really just help them, right? So I really like that aspect of the job. And it led me back to thinking like, well, what have I always enjoyed growing up? What have I always been good at? What have I been kind of just doing this whole time, right? And it really has been like just fitness, moving, sports, helping people. Like I realized that I like sales because I like dealing with people. I like talking to people, getting to know, their story, even if it's just, hey, you're just looking to buy a fridge, but just talking to you, learning about like your family and what your needs are and like your situation. Like I found that, different, it's interesting, not like the very, repetitive type of work environment where I just hate the most.
Yeah, yeah. And I talk to you guys about this, and I talk about sales being like it's a really extremely important leadership quality to be able to figure out people's problems for them. So I'm glad you picked up sales. So you figured out biomedical engineering was it biomedical engineering you said?
Yeah, like biomedical engineering. Yeah.
So you figured out that wasn't your thing. You took a year off. What led you to get into your program after?
It was mostly from talking to like a lot of the people while I was doing sales. Interestingly, like a lot of them are, obviously in their 30s, 40s, 50s. They have a lot of experience. So a lot of people that I was working with are always, they're like, hey, Ken, it's cool that you're here, but like, I have a son that's older than you. So I'll get a lot of these comments. So people always say like, hey, Ken, you have this like mature demeanor and like you have this calmness to you. I think that's attributed to me, like, you're just being around older people for like years and years in the workforce while I'm still in high school. So I see like a huge contrast between, me and my friends goofing off in high school versus, I'm in that switch, like I'm in that work mode because I have to keep up with their, 30, 40 years old of maturity.
Right,
So I have to really
right.
pick it up. But they really taught me like, a lot of them they didn't even enjoy the sales like job there because they found like, what, like money is good and all, but they would rather do a lot of these other things and they want to tell that to their children. So a lot of them were talking to me as if I was like their children and just really asking me like what it is I enjoy doing, what I like doing. So from talking with these guys and, hearing about their, their experiences and just their wisdom and talking to one of my mentors, if you will, really helped me just, kind of decipher that the fitness and health promotion program was something that really made a lot of sense for me practically going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you guys ever met Ken, I still think he's actually pretty young, but actually I don't know. I keep forgetting your age because I keep thinking when you first started you were pretty young, but now you're older now. It's so funny, but super mature for his age. So you started a health promotion program. What was it? 2 years? Three? How long was the program?
It was a 2-year program. Yeah.
2-year program. Talk to me about that. How was that process like?
It was a lot of fun. It was one of those things where, like growing up, I've never like really enjoyed school too much. I love the school for the friends aspect, for the extracurricular activities and doing projects and like doing sports and all that stuff. But I got like decent marks, but it wasn't the greatest, right? But when I got into the fitness and health promotion program, I was like, this is something I really love doing. Like it took literally took all the stuff from high school that I really enjoyed, but then turned it into a specialized program that like I felt like was meant for me. So
Mhm.
I really gave it my 100%, like when I went into that program, and really worked on getting the highest marks I possibly could, when it comes to studying, tests, exams. And yeah, I was able to like maintain well over 4.0 like GPA for all my classes, and finish with honors. So it was a great program, lots of practical experience. Met a lot of, I think, mentors and friends and connections that are still like in the fitness industry right now. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of them played a huge part in, where I am at right now, based on how, where they helped me, work at, intern at, and just connected me with the right people.
So talk to me about the different internship, because you did do a lot of placements at a bunch of different fitness studios, right? And different
For
like
sure.
fitness area, like even concepts in a sense.
Mhm. So, we first started off with just working within the school, right? I'll train the teachers, the faculty staff, like the professors, and some of the students that will work with us. Like there's like police programs and firefighters programs, so we'll work with them on their fitness and designing programs for them as such. And the place that where I got the most experience, I would say, is probably from this gym called Elite Training Systems. So they're a gym based out in Whitby, quite a drive as a student interning, but it was a really awesome place. So at ETS, we call it, primarily they train, I think, athletes, team-based sports, that sort of thing. And they also have your everyday, you know, person that just wants to get fit, lose weight, and just be healthy. And in
Mhm.
that, area, I was really able to pick up on a lot of, higher end concepts in terms of how to train people, but as well as how to simplify it for your everyday Joe, right? So it was a really awesome experience. Got to train some of my first official clients there. Got to meet some really cool people there actually too. Like people that played in the Super Bowl, like NFL,
Oh
people
yeah.
like hockey superstars. One of our coaches, I think the co-owner, he was like he's supposed to be, I think he's one of the strength coaches for the Anaheim Ducks. So definitely a
Nice.
wealth of experience from the trainers there, and a lot to learn from those guys. But yeah, it's a lot of fun in that area too.
So you got to train athletes. So talk to me now about what's the difference now between training athletes and training our clients. What do you,
I think
if you see a
when it,
difference?
yeah, I think the biggest thing is when it comes to athletes, they are already super self-motivated. They are in the sport because they love it. They want to get good at it, 1%, 2%, whatever it is. So they're willing to go 100%, And when it comes to, and I think that's a little bit of their weakness too, because sometimes they don't know how to stop. They don't know how to rest. They don't know how to recover. So these are the things where you really want to kind of focus on, and, kind of work with them, like, working on your mobility, your recovery, your rest. Sometimes, you want to, eat more. Don't worry about cutting too much. Or a cool concept I picked up from working at ETS and work in one of my classes was, a lot of sports that you would play, normally you already have like imbalances in your bodies, but these
Mm,
things aren't always a bad thing, right? Like for example, of like a great example is like a baseball player. You only bat one side, right? So you have like really strong rotational forces swinging the bat from one way of your body. And it's not necessarily a bad thing for you to have that because it makes you a really good batter, makes you a really good, you're good at throwing the ball when you pitch, right? Um, so I understand that, in some sports, this is going to be innate. And we just want to train them to the point where this is not going to lead to a injury in the future where it's like too
mhm.
much of like on one side off the symmetry. And when it comes to everyday athletes and people that just want to get fit and healthy, I think the biggest thing is just motivation, keeping them, accountable to their goals because they have a lot of stuff going on in their lives, with their jobs, their kids. Some of them are still in school, right? When you're an athlete, you're 24/7. Your job is your fitness, is your work, is, your whole life. So it's hard to put it on hold. But everyday people, yeah, you can worry more about symmetry, finding them balances, because it goes back to where your goal is, right? If your goal is to live a healthy life where you can move, you don't have to deal with pains and no injuries, then yeah, you want to train yourself to be as balanced as possible, have no dysfunctions, and you're set. But if you're, a baseball player, you want to hit as hard as you can. You want to pitch as
Right.
fast as you can, right? And then when you're retired, then that's why they go through all the rehab and work on themselves, bringing them back up again, right? But
Yeah, that's true.
it's a sacrifice they're willing to make.
I kind of see it like both ways. Like with athletes, you talked about recovery and rehab being an important part of like even training athletes. I think that's important with even like just regular people. Like and not in the sense of like recovery modalities that you would use with like athletes, but like even things like mindfulness, things like stress reduction, things like sleeping properly. I think those are all still recovery modalities that we have to do with day-to-day people. I know athletes know it's important, but like regular people need that too. So cool. So you have a bunch of experience with athletes. You now you finished school, and then talk to me about that journey now from, I guess, from being in the education side of things and then being in the real world working as a trainer. How was that transition like?
For sure, it was definitely one of those things where I just had to get my foot in the door somehow, and I was very eager to start, my fitness career because this is something that I've always wanted to do. So I applied to every single ad that I could find online and just shot them everywhere. And I was able to kind of narrow it down to a couple places that I like to work close by. So I used to work at 9 Rounds. I actually helped open the Markham location. It's by Highway 7 and McCowan Road. So I helped open that location, start up that gym. And then I was also working at Fight Fit at the time, just teaching a few classes here and there, interning. I was also doing PTs at Snap Fitness, a gym close to actually where you live, Joe. So you're familiar there. So I was working at 3 places all at once. I think a lot of personal trainers can kind of, relate to this, where when you first start off, it's a grind, right? You're hopping from place to place. You have clients here and there. You have all these hours, and you're all over the place. But really, I'm just trying to set up a baseline, a foundation to really discover like what it is that I want to do. Like, who do I want to coach? What do I want to specialize in? And what makes the most sense for me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so I'm like, you're obviously here, so you chose Fight Fit. What was it that made that decision?
I think one of the biggest reasons why I chose Fight Fit was because I like the idea that it's always evolving. It's not, one of those corporate companies where there's a lot of, you know, um, like inflexibility, I would say, when it comes to even my own, like what I have to bring to the table. I feel like in a corporate environment, like I wouldn't be able to grow as much as I can. I wouldn't have as much freedom, and I wouldn't be able to connect to the clients as much and give them everything that I've learned because, money is always in their mind. There's all these other stuff like politics in play. So, I really like that, about Fight Fit where I'm actually part of, the decision-making team. I can kind of help steer the ship of where we want to go and really listen to what the clients want, from their side of things, and then actually be able to do something about it. A lot of the other places where I was at before, a lot of the clients would tell me stuff. I'll bring it up. Nothing happens, right? There's a disconnect. It doesn't always happen. So, I like having the ability to make it happen. And I think Fight Fit, really values growth and, constant improvement. So I've been doing a lot of, courses, seminars, lessons ever since I started with you guys, with that gaps with kettlebell, we did the DTS barbell training. There's always nutritional seminars. And overall, I think it's just a sense of community. I don't think there's ever been a day where I've ever walked into Fight Fit and no one has ever said hi to me. It's always like, I felt like another home, really.
Nice. Thanks for the plugs. We got a great question here. Scott posted a question here. It's a really good one. What client has made the biggest impact on you?
What client? I can't say like any one client has made a big impact on me because I've really worked with like various different clients from like different specialties. But the biggest clients are the ones where, they get really emotional. This is after like I've helped them lose some, weight, or help them overcome a hard, difficult part of their life. And then they share that experience with me, and it allows me to just realize like how much of an impact or how much of a help I've actually been to their life. Like a lot of times, as a personal trainer, really from our like perspective, we just show up, we make you guys do a bunch of movements and exercises. We know it's good for you, right? But a lot of times we don't know how much like we don't really know like the level of like of which we're helping your life. And when you tell it to us, when you relate to us in very specific examples, right? Like people tell me, hey, I'm off my meds. I don't have to take this anymore. My doctor is super happy. Or like, my pregnancy went well. I was training this one client back in Snap where she was in her, I believe in her 70s. She was in her 70s. And, where I was training on her to do a plank. We were able to finally get it up to 1 minute. And it was in the wintertime. She told me, Ken, I fell. I actually fell last week. And I'm like, oh no, what happened? Like, that's crazy. That's scary. You okay? She's like, yeah, I'm okay. And the reason why I'm okay was because we worked on like planking, core training. We worked on different strength movements. So when she fell, she didn't fall on her head. She was actually able to just kind of brace herself, stop herself from hitting like dead onto the floor. And, she went to the doctor. She got a little bruises here, but she's like, had you not trained for it, if you hit head first, it would have been a very serious injury. So, it's these things that really help me, find love in the job that I do.
For sure. And like that's like one of the biggest things, like falls are one of the biggest issues that create for older individuals for sure. So huge impact. We're gonna take a minute to go. We're gonna go into questions real quick, but I want to ask one question, Ken. What has been one of your biggest learnings so far in your fitness career? What would you say is like one big aha moment for yourself and be like,
The biggest learning experience for me, I think it's as a trainer, we have to keep ourselves motivated every single day just as much as we motivate our clients. And sometimes I feel like it does get quite tough to do that. But sometimes you believe, since you're a trainer, you have to be X, Y, and Z, and just naturally going to be just there. You're part of your baseline, it's part of your life. But really, it's not. It's something that I think we constantly have to work at every single day and put in the reps, just like our clients do, just like what we're preaching and telling them to do, to be able to maintain at that level of, I guess, like you're being able to operate at what you're doing and to be good at it at the end of the day. So I think that's something that I'm constantly trying to work on. Right, keep myself motivated, watch what I'm eating, trying to exercise, and then just learn from our clients, from everybody at Fight Fit, everybody in the fitness community, to keep myself going. So that's one of the things I've learned. This never-ending journey. So, and that's what makes it fun.
and that's life. I think we've talked about this so much that the obstacle is the way. Like when you do hard things, that's what makes the journey interesting. And like we're all like that. Even me myself, the best coaches have coaches because it's always a challenge to keep ourselves accountable to things. So definitely can relate. So let's get into some questions here posed by some of our clients. We got a good one. Jose asks, he's super eager to get back into the gym. He's asked, what new policies or rules will be put in place to ensure safety from COVID-19 when the gym opens? So
yeah, I can start us off here. So, we're definitely keeping an eye out on any government, issued guidelines for gyms. With the gym being the last, phase of things being opened. So we're definitely going to keep our eyes on it, and as well as going above and beyond of what we have to do to keep our clients safe and keep our coaches safe as well, to make sure we transition back nice and smoothly. So some of the things we should expect to see are obviously smaller class sizes. Instead of having back-to-back classes where there's a lot of human contact, we're going to probably implement a time gap just so we have time for people to exit and leave, and have time for new people for the next class to come in, and some of these things to just make sure we are still abiding by the social distancing protocols that the government has put in place.
Yep. Just to add on to those things, like obviously, again, cleaning procedures, we're updating every procedure as well, just to make sure that in that gap that we'll be making sure that we're cleaning. And like Ken was mentioning, things like smaller class sizes, we will be limiting a lot of the classes. It Unfortunately, I know a lot of people are on different membership packages where they were used to going doubles. This would probably have to take that out just because to be able to service and fulfill it on everyone. But the good news is that we will continue doing our online sessions, because if you cannot make it out and if you are worried or concerned about cleanliness and want to stay home, we're going to keep doing the online stuff, give it going. Just give us feedback. And I got exciting stuff. I don't like to talk about stuff until I got it figured out, but we're working on a brand new platform to deliver you guys one-on-one personal workouts. So be on the lookout for that. All right, next question. We have Pamela. She asks, my goal is to hit under 1,400 calories a day. My diet is not as strict. Why hasn't my body fat budged?
I think the biggest one, whenever it comes to like our body not changing, and even though we've done such a strict diet, goes back to what we talked about earlier. There's a lot of other factors in play where we have to kind of look at like your sleep. How often are you exercising for the whole day, not just for that half hour, and what it is that you're eating. Really, like at the end of the day, if you're still eating less calories than than you're burning, you should be losing weight, but you can control many other factors to really expedite this. So I would say, are you sleeping 7 to 8 hours a day? Are you drinking enough water? Do you feel energized, right? Otherwise, then you might have to tweak, some of the food, some parts of the food plan, as well as maybe consult with your coach to see, if you need to maybe adjust some of your fitness plans to kind of go about it as well.
Yeah. Pamela, I would check to see if you are actually measuring your foods and how accurate you are at estimating the actual weight of the foods. That'd be my one action step, Pamela. It'd be weigh your foods to the gram, and then actually track it on MyFitnessPal. I don't know if you're already doing that. If not, start doing it, but get a little bit more accurate, get a bit more tighter. Start weighing your food. That could be the big thing. And also, like, how are you adding extra fats as well? Because those calories can definitely add up, especially when you're on such a low calorie goal of 1,400 per day. Take a look at if there's extra oil or extra fat in your foods. But like if you're at 1,400 and you're at you should be at a calorie deficit at that calories, you should be losing weight. But if it's body fat that isn't budging, and if you say, for instance, you have a scale, that could be the issue too. It could, like Ken, the other thing is she might not have like a really accurate body fat scale, because we all know bioelectrical impedance, which is most scales are, it's a little bit off some days. If some days you have a high salt, you have too much water, you have too much carbs, it might throw off the reading a little bit. So I would take a average of a daily body fat just to see if the trend is downward. That's what I would look at. Anything you want to add to that, Ken?
Yeah, for sure. Like, when it comes to the scale, I would do it first thing in the morning, wake up, go to the bathroom, do your business, come back. That way your body is, as neutral as possible. Hop on a scale, see what it says. The moment you start drinking water, consuming sodium, eating meats and all these things, the scale will start reading everything that you consume as, oh, maybe it's fat, maybe it's muscle, maybe it's water. It doesn't really know. That's where you get these inaccuracies. And this is why weighing at a consistent time really helps give you better insight into the accurate results you're looking for.
Yeah. Just like when you weigh your food, weigh yourself accurately. So.
Yeah.
Next question. Chelsea asks, what are some of the most effective ways to lose belly fat? I've never seen my own abs. Of course, I could feel it when I do ab workouts, but never shown. What are some effective ways to create a firmer ab construction? Or maybe she meant the shape of the abs.
Maybe a definition, yeah.
Yeah, definition.
I think, abs has been those things that people have been wanting for thousands and thousands of years, right? And it's one of those things where a simple line is like, you can't not out-train a bad eating habit or a bad diet, right? You can't out-train a bad diet. So, I think you have to go back to nutrition, going back to seeing, how much we're eating on a daily basis. Right. The reason why, if you look like thousands of years past, like you see all these farmers and all these people that are doing like labor, they able to eat all that rice and eat all this noodles and all this stuff and not put on any weight because they're literally, imagine they're at the gym every single, hour of the day because they're working. And that's why, they're burning it off. So really just got to revisit and go back to, that formula.
Yeah, definitely. Start looking at, body fat percentage would be one way to look at it. I posted one thing on my Instagram about the picture, which was really cool. Like it tells you where you're at in the terms of body fat and how your body should look. If you find me Joe Fight Fit, I posted one on Instagram post about this, where you can kind of see where your body fat percentage is and how your body should look. So you kind of have to, for women specifically, you got to get it down pretty low, like sub 20s to start seeing some abs. And I don't typically recommend that, just because when you as women get down to the 20, the 15% mark, things start happening to your body, like you start losing your menstrual cycle and things like that. So, but I mean, if that's what you want and if that's your goal, we can do it. Just know that those are the types of things that may happen. So getting you down to that 20 to 15% mark. I want to talk about guys. Guys have to get pretty darn low to start seeing their abs. Like you got to get like sub 15 to 10 to get that real pop. Ken, anything you want to add to this?
Yeah, just to wrap this up, just going back to your question and just really answering the last point to it. When you're training your core, you train your abs is the area you're looking for. Really, it's not just all about doing sit-ups and crunches where you're just moving in one, one plane of motion. Your abs, your core is designed to twist, turn, move in all sorts of directions. So, I would check your plan again and see, does your workout plan, does it consist of movements, for all planes, right? When you're twisting, anti-rotation, planking, right? Different ways to train your abs. That way you can get your obliques to show, you can get, abs right down the middle, your lower, upper. So just making sure that you're well-rounded and your training plan will help it as well.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for that. Thanks for those questions. Ken, this wraps it up. All right, man. I always like to ask this question. You know what my question is. Kung Fu action movie, the best one of all time, or I would say best movie with a hero arc. I'll let you have that too. And why?
With a hero? What do you mean by hero arc?
Like, when you get beat up, the guy gets beat up and then he comes back, he does like a training montage and he like learns a whole new skill or something like that. And he comes back and he fights his enemy and wins.
I would say, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but Kung Fu Hustle. That's one of my old favorites. That was hilarious. It was funny. It was a great action film. There's like great storyline to it too. But yeah, I'll say Kung Fu Hustle.
Kung Fu Hustle. All right, cool. You like the comedies. Awesome, yeah. Ken. For anybody that wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to get at you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Ken_trainer. Just shoot me a message if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to connect with you guys.
Sweet. Ken, thanks for being on the show and sharing your secrets on health, wealth, and being kick-ass. See you later, man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.